Hello, brother. I'm Cyrus, recent to this shore.
Brother Niddle, good son. Welcome to the Temple of Kay.
Can you heal me, brother Niddle?
Please forgive the formalities, but the governor has levied a temple tax of 25 gold for any magical services rendered, healing or otherwise. Will you pay the tax?
Fine. My sister Izara has been missing for near 3 months. Perhaps you have heard of her?
I knew her well, actually. But she never mentioned having a brother. She was a fiery sort, as I'm sure you know, and her Redguard blood did not fare well under Imperial rule. She is not the only nationalist who has disappeared since the governor claimed the city. There have been others.
What others have disappeared?
Brother Kithral, my initiate and good friend, for one. He was an outspoken man and a Crown sympathizer. He was enamored of your sister, I must say, and took to her Crown propaganda readily. Are you a follower of RK, Cyrus?
Me? No. Well, not in the worshipper sense.
In what sense, then?
I'm not that wayward, brother. I do believe in the gods and in their, importance to man and, all that.
And RK's importance would be...
I'm usually the one who asks all the questions, brother Niddle.
Humor an old man.
RK, then, the shepherd of the soul who watches us through our lives and our deaths and guides us between them in the heavenly interim.
May he watch over you.
Is there anything you can tell me about the Restless League, brother?
I know very little about their activities, Cyrus. The common stories, sure, but not much more.
I know even less of the League than you, brother. The common stories included.
Then know that they are ruffians and cutthroats who would like nothing more than carve their symbol upon the Emperor's eyes for daring to set them on Hammerfell. And know they secretly served the prince against the forebears during the Civil War to help Ator win back Sentinel.
What is the League's symbol?
The red R, for restless as they ever are. Trust me, you will see it if you stay in Stros Makai for long, invariably written in Imperial blood.
Sentinel, the capital city.
From whence Ator was forced to flee soon after his father died. Aye, but the crowns gathered here at Stros Makai and charged northwards to take their throne city back. But by then, the Imperial bargain had been struck.
How is Stros Makai these days, brother Niddle?
You should be able to see it just from the faces on the streets, my boy. But then again, there aren't that many faces out there anymore. Things have become quiet since the occupation.
I have seen the Empire expanding into all of Tamriel in my travels. Why is the occupation of Stros Makai full of more bloodshed than most?
You have only your Redguard blood to answer that, my boy. When has Hammerfell ever suffered foreign rule? The Civil War was bloody, to be sure, But when the forebears allied with the Empire, the crowns felt they had been betrayed by their own kind. They were prepared to fight to the last man, and the Empire sent Admiral Richten to make sure they did.
Tell me of the forebears.
Living in Stros Mackay, you only get the crown definition, of course. That the forebears were the pretenders to the throne, that they betrayed the Republic, and that Hammerfell has been cursed by their cowardice.
Azara was a crown, I know that. As a crown, what would be her fate?
I fear, sadly, that the crown's days are ended. The forebears' alliance with Emperor Septim made sure of that.
What else do you know about Richten?
That you should stay away from him, my boy. He will not care if you are a crown or not, should he find out that you are Azara's brother. However, you are probably safe in the city for the time being, as he never leaves the palace, seems.
I escaped Hammerfell just before the Civil War and without regret. That is probably why Azara never mentioned me to you. Well, it was through a mutual friend that I learned of her disappearance.
The war cost this city much, Cyrus. Though an outsider may not see it, the crowns are gone now, and only the League remains as their testament.
The temple seems very empty, Brother Niddle. Are you its only priest?
We have ever been understaffed. It was horrible right after the battle. All the dead and dying. But luckily, I had Brother Kithral to help me tend to them. Since he is gone now, I must carry on alone.
What can you tell me about the governor?
That he is a hard man. Richten threatened to raise the temple when I refused to hand over the wounded of Prince Ator, who had survived the battle. I assured him that even his emperor could not defy divine law. Nevertheless, the wounded under my care were healed only to be thrown into the catacombs thereafter.
What of Prince Ator?
He was lost at sea, my boy. That is all I know. And that it was rumored that Azara knew him personally.
So my sister knew the prince then?
Leave that alone, boy. That was but a rumor.
Did my sister fight in the Battle of Stros Mackay?
No, she was never part of the military. She could have been, though. She was good with a sword, I hear.
What is the divine law?
Richten wanted to rescind the crown's right to sanctuary while they were wounded, or to desecrate the bodies of the enemy dead before I gave them their last rites.
So Ator's men are in the catacombs, then?
Either that, or they are fruit for the necromancer. It is somehow appropriate that Richten deals with that nefarious slug.
What happened to the bodies of Ator's men after the last rites?
Food for the dragon, more than likely. But at least their souls are safe from the necromancer.
The Imperials have a dragon?
Its name is Nafal-Alagus, and it lives in the catacombs, or so I have heard. It has not been seen in the skies since the battle, so maybe Richten is lying about it still being around.
What about this necromancer?
Nagasta has been here long, manifest in Tassad's good rule. Ator had kept his wretchedness at bay, but now, with the prince gone, he has cursed the land.
How has Nagasta cursed the land?
The very soil of Stros Mackay is cursed. Nagasta has become very powerful, and has weaved a soul snare across the island. Any who die must quickly have their last rites performed before their souls become his to claim.
Do you know anyone that Azara may have kept company with, vanished nationalist or otherwise?
Like I said, I knew her well, and she spoke often to Brother Kithral, my former initiate, but he, too, has disappeared. She was a devout Archaean, Izara. I once almost convinced her to join the temple, but that was before she... well...
Before she what, Brother Niddle?
Well, man, before she vanished.
I trust that you will seek me out if you hear anything more of my sister.
I will be honest, Cyrus. She is either dead or worse, for I know she would not have left Stros Makai even after Ator's defeat. Rikton had a list of rebels when he took the throne, and Isara's name was undoubtedly upon it. Are you a follower of Archae, Cyrus?
Me? No. Well, not in the...
In what sense?
I'm not...
And humor.
Arcade.
He will go.
Why the temple tax?
Just another of Rikton's rules, my book, along with several other solutions to the burden of empire.
When did you last see Tirkit?
I sent him to the park for fresh mandrake root, and that is probably where Rikton's men were waiting. Kithral was against the imperial expansion from the start, though I reminded him that Archae realms are more settled interests. This warning Kithral obviously did not take to heart.
When did you last see Tirkit?
I said Kithral was this morning,
Until later, Brother Niddle.
Goodbye, my son. Yes?
Good day. I'm Cyrus.
Aren't too many youngsters around these days, especially not as well-spoken as you. I'm Michael, the local cartographer. Can I help you?
Do you have any maps for sale?
Sorry, I don't sell retail, contract work only, but perhaps I can make a map for you?
I could use a map of the island.
I used to make those, but I can't compete with the big Hammerfell cartography houses. Hire beggars and street urchins to copy off a master map. You've probably seen their cheap city maps around. Nothing like a good hand-drawn map. But people don't seem to care about craftsmanship anymore.
What are people talking about around town these days?
Damning the governor's eyes, mainly. I try not to get involved in all those troubles. I've seen more than enough suffering in my life. I just want to spend my last days working with my maps.
I wonder if you've heard of this Restless League.
The alliance between Daggerfall, Wayrest, and Balfiera against the Cyrodiils during the First Era? No, that was the League of Unrest. No, sorry, I'm just not familiar with it.
Do you know a young woman named Izara?
I'm afraid not. I don't know too many of the youngsters around town these days. You see, I prefer to spend my time with my maps.
What do your maps tell you?
Maps are like people. Did you know that, Cyrus? There are good maps, bad maps, indifferent maps. You shouldn't trust most maps. They'll lead you astray if you give them a chance. An honest map is rarer than a true friend. Remember that, young sir.
Is life under the Imperial Governor so harsh?
I said I didn't want to speak of such things.
I've heard tell that your basement is used as a smuggler's den.
Really? How about that? I rent the downstairs to some local lads. They're quiet, always pay up on time. I can't imagine they're up to anything illegal.
These local lads, do they have names?
They never said. Perhaps you should run downstairs and ask him yourself.
We'll talk later.